Hey, I want to talk about mental illness, depression, things of that nature. And I want to mention how, first, you know, um, before I was diagnosed or became mentally ill, and I like to give, I like to thank my mother for being kind. If it wasn't for my mother, I'd be homeless right now. That's how bad it got. Um, I've always suffered from anxiety and depression to the point to where, I always had stomach pains. I always suffered from it, but I always said it doesn't matter. I gotta get through it. I wouldn't want to when I was younger. Before, I wouldn't want to watch anything that involved it because I didn't want to hinder myself. I've always went against the odds. Even when I was in high school, I shouldn't have played football because I have a missing piece in my heart. And I went to about 3 doctors, and they didn't want to clear me to play because at any moment I can drop dead on the field. But I overcame that. I have sickle cell trait anemia, to where it's hard for me to breathe. I don't get as much oxygen in my body, but still, I overcame it. I played sports. I became good at it, great at it. Suffering from terrible anxiety, I just ignored it. Suffering from depression, I just ignored it. Because I said, I don't have, who cares? That was my attitude, who cares? Well, it catches up to you. And I'm saying this because my whole life I battled against depression and anxiety and overcame it, but it'll get to the point where it disables you, man. And my depression became so severe that I was willing to literally just be homeless and just rot on the street. That's how bad it was. I didn't care. I said to myself when I dropped out of college, if my mother doesn't take me back, I'm just going to find the street bench and just sit there. Maybe if I get hungry enough, I'll get up and do something. That's how bad it was. But by the grace of God, my mother didn't kick me out, which I thought she was. So I was prepared to just stay on the streets and just... I was prepared, guys, I'm not lying to you. I was prepared to just starve to death because I didn't want to ask people for help. I didn't want to do that. I said, I'll just starve. That's how bad my depression was. So for people saying, and now mind you, I told you, my whole life I battled with depression and anxiety, but fought through it. Made it through 5 years of college. I made it through 5 years of college battling extreme anxiety. When I was younger, my anxiety was so bad that if my father yelled at me, I'll piss on myself. My anxiety is so bad that if anything happened, I would have to go have a bowel movement. That's how bad my anxiety was. Then on top of that, I have sickle cell trait anemia. Then on top of that, I have a missing piece of my heart. And I went through my whole life battling, fighting it, going against the grain and prevailing. To where my 5th year in college, I had quite a few NFL offers. But it catches up to you, man. So people saying depression's not real. Guys, depression's real, man. Guys, when I dropped out of college, I was prepared to find the city bench and just lay there and die. That's how bad my depression was. I said maybe if I get hungry enough, I'll get up and ask someone for help. That's how bad my depression was. Now you're talking to a guy who went through 8 years of sports with sickle cell trait anemia, Google it, and a missing piece of my heart. Also battling chronic anxiety and depression without knowing it. So this is what I mean. When you have anxiety, terrible anxiety, it upsets your stomach. I had to go through, I remember one time in camp, in practice, I had to crawl off the field. And everyone, they're coming at me. I'm like, yo, guys, it's not that. It's my stomach. I have anxiety. I'm sick, but I'm not going to complain about it. I'm not going to complain. I'm just going to fight through it. Why? And another reason to why I'm like that, my father was hard, man. He prevailed because I should be in the league, but God has other plans. It caught up to me. My father didn't let me complain, so I was able to fight through so much pain.